to the Business and Bubbly podcast. This is the place for women in business who are on the journey of building their big ideas and want to have fun along the way. It's for those of us who also know we aren't meant to do business or life alone. Hi, I'm Charity Majors, your host and the founder of Business and Bubbly. Think of this kind of like the can I pick your brain chats that you've always wanted to have with those who are doing epic things, plus business besties, hype girls, and getting into massive action towards your next big idea all in the same place. Oh, and bubbles, because if you're not having fun along the way, you're not doing it right. Together, we'll unlock what it means to be seen, known, heard, and championed all along the ups and downs of entrepreneurship and being a woman in business building big dreams. Each week, I'll bring you a quick sip business tip, as well as interviews from top experts that make you feel like you're getting bottle service for your business. We're having the raw and real conversations and chatting about all the things, the messy middle, the pivots, scaling, the good days and the bad days, because here we do real. It's where we can work hard, play hard, cry it out, and dance it out all at the same time without being judged. This is a place where we are in the arena together and we are each other's biggest fans because most of us have enough comments from the cheap seats. It's where our too much is par for the course and where the gaps of our not enough are filled in by the other epic women that are around us. It's where we can be unapologetic about the mission we are on, about the big dreams on our heart, and the business we are building without having to be perfect or have it all together, or even pretend to. It's a supportive community where business is being done amongst like-minded women, because when money gets in the hands of good women, great things happen. It's a place where you have the support around you to get out of your comfort zone and go after your big ideas, because even when you fail forward or when you reach the top, you know it won't be alone. Also, if you know anything about me, you'll know that I'm obsessed with creating platforms that lift up other women to be seen and heard and known. So with that in mind, I'd like to invite you to list your business on our directory called Find Women in Business. All you've got to do is text the word directory to 833-231-8098, and I'll text you the link back to get your free listing. This is also a great way to connect with other women in business from around the world, so definitely check it out. And now let's get to the good stuff. Grab a glass of your favorite beverage, Prosecco, bubbly water, or whatever your flavor is, and let's dive in. Are you with me? Here we go. Hello, friends. Welcome. I'm excited to be here with you today. If this is your first time joining, my name is Charity Majors. I'm the founder of Business and Bubbly. Make sure that you let me know where you are tuning in from, and we are excited about today's guest. I am going to invite her in. You are listening to the replay on the podcast. Super excited to have you here digitally as well. As Annika joins in, I'm excited to connect with her and as she kind of gets in the right spot. Hey, Annika, welcome to Instagram Live.
Hi, beautiful. Thanks for inviting me on here.
Yeah, I'm excited to connect with you. So for those of you guys that don't necessarily know Annika, which I actually love, I thought your name was Anneke at first, which is beautiful, but I actually love that it's Annika. My cousin's name is Annika. She spells it a little bit different. And so then all of a sudden it was like, oh, yay, okay, we're kind of like cousins, I guess.
I'll take that. Cousin sounds good. Don't feel bad. My Spanish teacher in high school called me Anneke for all of high school. So I've heard everything. Anneke, Anneke. And
I believe it. I've had some weird names too. Like,
what's the weirdest one you've had?
Oh, it's like Terry is like a random one, but there's actually bad pickup lines that I get.
All right, now you have to share.
Like back in college, it was like I'll donate to charity. And I'm like, I'm sure you will, buddy. Get a better pickup line. But I'm excited to connect with you here on Instagram. So for those of you guys who maybe you aren't familiar with Annika, she's the founder of Pink Sparrow Social. And she is basically one of the women that really grabbed a hold of Instagram Reels when it came out. And she was a social media marketer beforehand, but really took advantage of this new feature. And I would say, I don't know if other people have deemed you this, but I would for sure deem you as like, anoint you as like the Reels queen. When it comes to selling on social, quote unquote, reeling in the business. And fun announcement, but Annika is actually one of our speakers at our Business and Bubbly Rise Summit coming up on the 30th. So it's going to be really fun. So thanks for being here with us.
Oh, you're most welcome. And I love the name, Business and Bubbly. It just rolls off the tongue.
Thanks. It's pretty fun. So going from when Reels first came out at, I think you had around 900 followers to now, I think in 6 months you went over 100,000, and now you're at 275,000 plus. You have this really beautiful business, courses that are running evergreen for you. And you just really created this beautiful online community. But I know for you, it wasn't always like that. So I'd actually love for people to hear a little bit more, if you are open to diving into a little bit more of your backstory and maybe the struggles that you faced as a woman in business and with these big hopes and dreams and what you're doing on social media.
Ooh, great question. Let's get into that origin story. All right. So you covered a little bit about this straight out of uni. I built a social media marketing agency, which is great. I had clients in multiple different industry, managing their accounts, and I loved it. Like, I love social media and I love helping businesses grow. But then 2020 happened, and it was a really low point in my life because I went from booked out to no income, just like that, almost overnight. Like, businesses were closing down. They weren't able to stay open. So a lot of my clients were either put on hold or postponed. So I was sitting there with my husband, we wanted to start a family. At this point, I haven't had a baby yet. And I remember sitting there in the living room floor, like, what are we going to do? Like, there goes our baby fund. There goes our support. We're chewing through our nest egg. And, at that point, I really had to pivot. It was, do something or stay where you are. Like, in life, we have choices. We can make choices to change where we are now, or we can keep doing what we're doing. And I was like, okay, let's make the choice to change where I am. So at that same time in 2020, Reels had just come out as well. And I was sitting on the couch with my husband and I was like, babe, this Reels thing, it's going to blow up. I just know it. Like, TikTok went huge. I can see Instagram's following the same trend. It's going to be amazing. And I don't know how to make videos. Like, I'm not a funny person, and I'm just going to give this a go. And like any good husband, he sat there and he said, babe, I don't get this Instagram thing. I never have, but if you're doing it, I'm going to support you. Whatever you do, I'm there for you, babe. So there I was, living room floor, papers everywhere. Like, I'm scribbling down, like I'm trying to work out strategies and analyzing what's working, what's not working with Reels. And then I developed my own strategy. And I know that sounds pretty sparkly. One day I developed a strategy and started using it with Reels. Like, no, I didn't. It was hard work. It was a bunch of trial and error, a bunch of mistakes, and figuring out what works and what doesn't. And then I applied it to my business, and I saw incredible results. And a lot of my students are met with same results when they start using Instagram with an actual strategy rather than just being on Instagram. So many people will just share, oh, I'm at Disneyland, or I went on this vacation, and then it's like, buy my course. No, honey, what you're doing is sharing highlights and selling. You're not using Instagram. You're just on Instagram. So what I do is I help teach business owners how to use Instagram for them. And I'll be sharing some gold nuggets about that inside Business and Bubbly.
I love it. Yes, I'm so excited. And I love that you recognize that there's this trend that's happening and a new opportunity for you to be able to grab a hold of. So what would you say to someone who maybe they feel like they have missed the boat lost on Instagram Reels and everyone's already doing whatever and I don't even know what buttons to push. I've never even done a reel. What would you say to those people? And then on the flip side of that, what do you feel like is the what is the future of social media as far as what's working, what's not working? Is it going to still be Reels?
Mm-hmm. Great question. So you have not missed the Reels boat. Reels is only, 2 years old, 3 years old? It is just a baby. Instagram has been around for a while, a long time. And there are people who are just using Instagram now and they're growing their business, they're reaching the right audience. So it's never too late. And I want you to think about, as a business owner, where is your audience? They're on social media, so that's where you want to be. So I think being able to just be on Instagram and connect with the right people and then convert them into sales, that's magic. Like, you don't have to have 1 million followers, because if you can't convert the followers you already have, 1 million followers isn't going to solve your problems. So just be on Instagram, put your business out there, attract the right people, connect with them and convert with them. And you're going to do really well. Like, it's not about vanity metrics like the number of followers or am I too late to the game? No, you're not, babe. You're here. Start today. Like, a few months from now, if you look back and go, oh, I wish I started last month. Like, imagine where you could be if you just start now. Like, that is the hardest step. Like, for me as well in business, was just taking that first step. You know, nothing comes from nothing. You have to take that step. A lot of people think, oh, I'll wait till I feel motivated, you know, but you're not always going to feel motivated. And think about when you go to the gym, right? You don't always feel like going to the gym, but then after you've gone, you feel really good. You feel motivated to go again. You didn't feel that way at the start. You felt that way after you took action, after you created movement. The movement creates the motivation. I saw a quote, I think it was Mel Robbins. She said, the 5-second rule. When your brain has an idea, you need to do some sort of movement and take action on it within 5 seconds. If you don't, then your brain is going to stop you from doing it. So the moment you have that business idea, you want to create a reel, just take some action on it. Open up your notes, write out some ideas, just take that action, move forward, and amazing things will happen one step at a time. Now, what was your other question?
It was, so we have kind of do those that haven't started yet, do they feel like they've missed the boat? And then also projecting forward, do we still think that Reels are going to be really effective moving forward? Especially for those of us, like I speak to women in business, for those of us who are able to harness this platform of Reels, especially on Instagram, is it going anywhere? Is it still going to be effective? I know views have changed. I remember when in the beginning it was like Reels was everything and all the views were up. And then as it kind of settled in, you know, views have changed from that. But is it still relevant? Is it still going to be a thing?
Absolutely. Like Reels are not going anywhere. Instagram wants to be the forerunner in everything. So whenever something new's come up, you know Instagram is going to be there. And whatever that is, you will be able to master it. And I don't see video content taking a back step at all. If anything, people are consuming more content. And if your views are low, it just means that the algorithm is like that girlfriend of yours that says, honey, that outfit, it don't look right on you. So the algorithm is telling you your audience doesn't like that outfit. Your audience isn't enjoying that content. So we need to pivot. We need to change the content we make. We need to speak to our audience and deliver them what they want. Then our reach will improve, because your audience dictates your views. If they love it, they're going to watch it and consume it. So I don't see Reels disappearing anytime soon. If anything, the Instagram app, I predict they'll just be adding in more features and, you know, keeping up with whatever TikTok is doing, whatever Facebook's doing, whatever is happening with Threads. Yeah.
I love it. So what would you say for those who maybe are pretty used to Instagram? And actually, I want to go back to what you were saying first before I go into this question of the, just get into action, that is actually what helps us build confidence. I remember when I first was starting with Reels and you had popped up and you were like still in your first 30 days of doing your Reels challenge. Legit, I'm one of the OGs, girl. I'm serious.
I love you.
And I like saw like what was happening as far as like followers and like the value that you were providing. So I like kind of jumped on the bandwagon as far as trying to like fumble through figuring out reels, and it was awkward and it was messy at first, and it like feels clunky, and you're like, oh, like am I doing this dance thing? Like what's going on? But I actually loved the fact that, and you do a really good job at this too, is that it's not about being a dancing monkey. It's not about doing these whatever moves. And honestly, it's not even about how amazing your video is. It really is if your content is speaking to your ideal clients. If you're using Instagram for business, if you're just using it to post about Disneyland, perfect. Like use it to share about your family. But we're talking to women in business. So is that content actually really, really relevant? And what I found was that it's more about the messaging that goes on the reel versus what the reel is itself.
Yes,
right?
What you're referring to is like those B-roll reels. So B-roll stands for behind the scenes. You have an endless amount of content. You can just use the videos you have on your phone, the B-roll behind the scenes, and then you add the text on top that says the message that you want to deliver. Exactly what you just said. That works beautifully.
Yes. So how would you invite, or how would you encourage other women in business? Because we both know that social media is obviously, it's rented space, right? It's a rented audience. We don't control the algorithms. At any time we could get the Zuckerberg slap and get whatever shut down. I had an old Facebook page that was shut down, and I lost all of my like pixel stuff and all this customer stuff. It got hacked. I lost all my Facebook groups, like 20,000 plus whatever followers, and it's devastating, right? But thank God for an email list that I'm still able to then communicate, right? So share a little bit about, okay, that social, like what social media is on the outside. But then obviously when it comes to selling on social, when it comes to having this business, when it comes to like reeling in the business, what does that actually look like on the back end of things as far as a product offering or an email list, and how to really convert this audience into happy customers?
Great question. And you bring up such a good point. You don't own your audience on Instagram. At any time, it could just disappear like that. So having that backup, having that email list is going to be amazing. Having a community outside of Instagram is ultimately the end goal. The forefront of Instagram is to get to know your audience, for them to get to know you. Like before I go to a cafe, I check out their Instagram. Before I work with a coach, I check out what they're posting on Instagram. I want you to think of your Instagram like you're dating, like social dating. You want to date your customers. Now, the reason you want to do that is because let's say you went on a blind date and then straight away the person proposed and they said, will you marry me? Or the equivalent of buy my course. It's like, hold up, buy me dinner first, ask me a couple of questions. That's what you're doing on Instagram at the start. You're dating your audience, you're asking each other questions, you're getting to know each other, you're finding out whether you're a good fit or not a good fit, whether your values align, if you can help each other. And that's really what you want to do on social media, is date your audience. And then you invite them to the second date and the third date. And then you get married, and that's when the sale comes through behind the scenes. After you've built that relationship, you've connected with them, you send them to an offer, more value. And then once you've connected them with them even more through that free value, you've got, that email list you're starting to grow, or maybe you have a private community where they're in there. And then that's where the sales happen, because you've done all that connection and that hard work. And then the sale just comes naturally. Like, you don't want people that you have to sit there in the DMs and convince them to buy from you. No, you want to attract people that, they see you and they go, yes, you finally made a course. I'm going to buy it from you. Yes, your candle, it looks amazing. I'm so glad it's live. I'm going to buy it from you. You don't want to attract people that you have to sit and convince. You want to show up and connect with them, then you don't have to convince them.
Absolutely. I love that. This gets into a lot more of who you have to become in the process.
Ooh.
Right? So we kind of want to open up this little not can of worms, but this conversation, because I'm sure that going from 900 followers to now hundreds of thousands, that you have had to expand who you were in the process to be able to show up how you do today. And I know for me, every time I've grown or every time I've been like really forward facing, I'm actually I used to do pageants and it was top 6 in the world. And it's this really interesting space of being vulnerable and being visible and really being open to criticism and really being open to like anybody else's, whoever, whatever opinion, and they can just share the whatever they want to do on my page type of a thing. So who did you have to become in the process in order to handle and not crumble? Because I think we can like want the hundreds of thousands of followers and want the bazillion whatever on the email list and the millions of dollars. But I remember when I wanted those things in the past, if I would have gotten those things, like I remember when I published my book, I have a book called Meant for More, Igniting Your Purpose in the World That Tries to Dim Your Light. And one of my goals was like, let's get on Oprah. And right, it was like, yeah, let's go. Like, but the truth was that if I were to get on Oprah at that time years ago, I would have crumbled. And the weight of whether it was criticism or other people, like I used to be the girl that hid in the corner, and I used to be the girl that was so afraid to say anything because I was going to offend somebody. And so now all of a sudden, if I would have gotten this massive exposure, it would have crushed me. So who did you have to become in the process to be able to handle, which unfortunately it comes, right? Like we can't, like, I feel like that's just like part of the universal lesson that comes when you grow and expand. But who did you have to become in the process to be able to handle the growth and expansion that came for you?
This is what I love about you, Charity. Like, you're not just focused on the business. You have this personal development side as well. So at the same time you're growing as a business owner, you're growing you, and you openly share that, and you can see how much work you've personally done to get to where you are now. And yes, absolutely. I've had to grow and change and develop. If I started, now with what I have now, and I was the person I used to be, I'm not sure I'd be able to handle things, because when problems arise, say something is like a level 4 problem, and you're only able to handle like level 1s, that's going to seem really hard. But if you develop yourself to be like a level 8, a level 4, that's nothing, You've grown so much that problem doesn't even bother you. And I think that's what comes with practicing on Reels, like showing up on video. Like, it's really scary putting yourself out there, filming yourself. Like you said earlier, it feels kind of clunky, but the more you practice, the better you get at making the videos. And for me, when I launched my course, I remember, the imposter syndrome coming in, like, who am I to be sharing this? Like, can I share this? Am I charging too little? Am I charging too much? Knowing your self-worth. And then, also you have to deal with what people say, because you're putting yourself out there, and you could be the ripest, prettiest peach, that whole saying, and someone still out there is allergic to peaches. So I think if you are true to your values and you share that and you truly believe that, the people that connect with that, they're going to love you. And that's how you turn just a follower into a raving fan. I shared a post maybe 2 weeks ago about the Barbie movie and a lot of the values in there that I didn't quite stick with. And I remember sitting there with my husband going, I feel like I really need to share this. Like, I have this account. I feel like I have a responsibility to share, good messages. And he was like, babe, you're going to lose some followers. Some people are going to leave. And then I was like, yeah, some people will leave, but the right ones are going to stay. Yeah. And I think that was really like difficult to deal with, those comments of people misinterpreting what I'm saying. And I had to grow as a person to be able to handle those. And how do I show up online and reply to them in a way that's polite, acknowledges what they say, and keeps the space open for growth. I think that was a learning process as well. And the beautiful thing that happened from it is I had hundreds of comments saying, I love what you just shared. I love that you're speaking out about this. I'm fangirling your soul right now. And that is how you turn just a follower into a raving fan, by having the courage, because courage is power. If you have the courage to step out, be who you are, babe, the universe, things are lining up for you. You just need to take that first step, like we mentioned earlier. So a lot of growth has happened. And even, you know, becoming a mum and running a business, like that is really, really hard. You have to deal with, you know, serving your community as your baby, and then you have your other baby, and then feeling like, you know, one of them is getting more and one of them is getting less, and trying to balance that. That was a huge roller coaster journey.
For sure. What has been your biggest aha moment in that, in looking in what it looks like to be a mom? And
Big aha moment. I think the big aha moment is that there's a misconception you can balance both, and you can't, and that's okay. It's okay to, when you're on your business, lean into that, and maybe you don't have the time for your baby, like your hubby plays with her more, and your community is thriving and they're loving you, but then when you're spending time with your daughter, you're like, this is beautiful, I'm with her and I love her, and then the community gets a little bit neglected. So it's kind of like balancing those scales was an aha moment. I had this misconception that, you know, you can do both, you can balance both beautifully. The scales tip, you know, and the trick is knowing when to tip back, I think was a huge aha moment.
Yeah, that's so good. And regardless of how the scales are tipping, I'm such a firm believer that we're not meant to do it alone. We're not meant to do motherhood alone. And we really need a community. We need supportive spouses or friends or family and babysitters and whatever that might look like. And in business, we need supportive community. We're not meant to do it alone. We're not meant to be these silos that are like trying to figure it all out by ourselves. And I actually love, like, one of our missions with Business and Bubbly, and one of our mantras is that we aren't meant to do it alone, and we really help support each other in community. And it looks like the places where you're too much, where, okay, I've got these different facets of community. I'm a mom too. I have a 7-year-old son and an 8-month-old daughter, and it is, you know, she's our little rainbow baby. We kind of journeyed through loss, and I really needed community throughout that journey. And I can't do either one alone. It has to be help from other people. And so it's like, how do I know that I can ask for help? Can I like let go of that control that like my husband's going to do his thing, how he's going to do it. He's going to load the dishwasher, how he's going to load the dishwasher. And I'm not going to complain about it because they're getting done, right? Like,
or the washing. They need like a separate setting. You know how there's like whites, darks, mixed. Everything goes in here because the wife's not home. Yes.
The husband said it. Totally. But we're not meant to do it alone. Like, we can be really hurt in community, but we can also be really, really healed in community. And so what does that look like for us? Like with me and my mom friends, I can fully show up as who I am as a mom and loving my babies, and like, don't let my lip gloss fool you. I'm kind of crunchy, right? Like I had a home birth, and
me too. I had a home birth too. I love that you had that.
Crunchy, right? I love my mom friends, and they've got their chickens, and I don't want chickens, but I'll buy their eggs for their chickens, like, right? But then also, but I can't show up in that facet of who I am, right? Like a diamond, like we've got facets of who we are, and so I can't necessarily show up in that space. Like they think that my business side is too much, and that's okay. Like, how do I find the rooms where my too much is par for the course? And so now it's like we've created these beautiful rooms with Business and Bubbly where you get to show up fully as who you are as a woman in business, in that facet of yourself that maybe other people have thought that they were too much. And the places where you feel like you're failing, the places where you feel like you're not enough, it gets filled in by the community around you. And that is like that. I think that's what it's about. I know you have a beautiful community, and you do that like with your courses and that type of a thing, and it makes all the difference. Like if you want to go far, go alone. But if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together.
There's something to be said about being held and supported in a community. You know, when you have ideas, you can bounce them off each other and you get inspired and they lift you up. You know, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So having a community of driven women who get it, who get business, that is powerful and magical. And that is where, you know, things happen. And like you said, you can go fast, but you can go further with that community. And I also love that you have your community with your, you know, in your mums, where you can be that person, because, you know, they don't get who you are as a business owner. So it's beautiful to kind of separate the two and feel held and supported. And you need different communities for different aspects of who you are. And I think what you're doing with Business and Bubbly really helps, fill that gap for a lot of women.
Thanks. I'm pretty excited. Well, we're excited to have you as a speaker at I know you're going to be virtual. We're in the US, you're in Australia, so you're going to be one of our virtual speakers. And we have a really fun announcement for those of you guys who maybe are not able to join us in the room at our Rise Summit, because together and with Like Bubbly, we rise. And this is for women in business who are really craving that community and to be in those spaces and in those rooms with like-minded women. We believe that you don't need to find your voice, that you already have a voice. You just need to be empowered to use it and to be in those spaces around other powerful women, to where, again, that you can show up fully expressed as a woman in business. You love the strategy, you love the social media, you have these big hopes and dreams on your heart. This is for you, because we're the supportive community that when you actually go and take risk, when you fail forward, but there's that supportive community around you to be able to take risk and to feel supported along the way. And we are officially having a live stream for the summit, which is going to be really exciting. So for those of you guys that want to join us, it's free online for those of you that register for our new content to client conversion masterclass. If you comment below the word leads, we'll send you not only the link to register for our masterclass. It's happening on October 3rd, but you will also get the free summit live stream where Annika is going to be sharing, where I'm going to be sharing. We're hearing from incredible other keynote speakers like Rachel Luna. She is the author of Permission to Offend. She was just on USA Today. We have amazing lineup. And so if you want to hear Anneke, and if you want to grow your following and really convert, like what we were talking about, those clients or your audience into those raving fans, and you are ready to grow into that version of who you're being called to be, then we would love to invite you to our free live stream for our Business and Bubbly Rise Summit. So comment the word leads below. We'll send you over the free masterclass. And because you register for the masterclass, then you're going to be able to join us free for our live stream with the Rise Summit. All right, and Annika, thank you so much for being here. Do you have any last words of wisdom for anyone watching?
Let's see. Be unapologetically you and find the people that are your people, and then grow together, because we rise by lifting each other.
I couldn't agree more. All right, you guys, make sure that you comment leads. Annika, thank you so much for being here. It was really great to connect with you, to hear a little bit more about your story. And for those of you guys who are women in business, we believe in you. You have what it takes. If you need supportive community, all you have to do is say yes. Come join us. We'd love to have you be a part. And that's what we got for today. All right,
amazing. Bye. Thanks for having me.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the show. I hope it brought some value and some fun into your business and life. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast, and even share the episode with a fellow business bestie who you know will love it. It helps us continue to attract top-level guests and reach more and more women who are on their journey in business just like you. Remember that when money gets in the hands of good women, great things happen. Cheers to your success.